So we're going to start off talking about trophy wives, and this particular topic came about because Doc and I both saw the episode of Auburn Preach where they reacted to Lana Rhoades on Three Girls, One Kitchen, and we got into a long discussion the entire day. Even John was like, "You having a discussion, ain't you?" Or a podcast episode.
Yeah, I'm going to save it for the podcast.
So we decided to actually do that. So we pulled up Lana Rhoades' particular trophy wife training, Three Girls, One Kitchen, episode 14, and we're going to listen to a little bit and then try to rehash that conversation. So let's get into it. I think it starts right here.
Of hypergamous women. Basically, if you're not familiar with the term hypergamy, it means marrying into or having a sexual relationship with someone of a higher sociological status or education, which is basically also like gold diggers would be is a typical stereotype of a trophy wife. So that's basically hypergamy.
Okay.
And so on Tumblr, it's like a huge community. That's actually where I got the idea for today's topic of trophy wife training. However, this episode, we're not going to preach to you guys about how to be the perfect woman for a man. This episode's more about how to become a more well-rounded woman for yourself.
Yeah.
Then why is it about trophy wife training?
Draw in a high-value man.
And I think that's the 2021 definition. And I think that's like the rebranded trophy wife is.
Go on, Doc or John.
Can you rewind it 10 seconds?
10 seconds. 1, 2. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
It's for
that will
yourself.
obviously draw in a high-value man.
Boom.
And I think that's.
She said, so the trophy wife training is not for a man. It's for yourself,
To draw in.
a high value man. Okay. I have no opinion. I have no opinion on what I just said.
You're just pointing out
I'm just pointing out the sequence of events.
The 2021 definition, and I think that's like the rebranded trophy wife is that it's not just about looking good, you know, like if you want to have hairy legs and hairy armpits, you go, girl, like you do that. If that makes you confident and you get a man like that, like that's, I support that. You know, I feel like we just support.
But that's not a
everything
trophy
about
wife.
How you feel in woman empowerment. You know, like not necessarily being a trophy wife requires you to always look attractive. Some men think
But that's
that,
what a trophy wife is.
a turn on for them. So it's what they value in their eyes, what makes you a trophy wife.
Or what you value to become a complete woman. I know for me, well, I have a list of things. So we basically have an outline for every episode. So for me, a trophy wife is an educated woman, a woman who can talk about many topics, whether it be stocks, philosophy, politics. She also keeps up with her hygiene. She cares a lot about her style. She's very well-rounded in all aspects. So that's sort of what we want to give you guys some ideas about today. Not to please a man, to become more well-rounded for yourself, and then that man will come around if you want him.
I think a lot of people are used.
But you don't need a man.
I think a lot of people are used when they hear the word
a
trophy
fact.
wife, they think of
Need.
how it used to be, and it's just like a dumb hot girl that just scores a guy for money and whatnot. So like on this episode, we are.
All right, so real quick. So we heard their redefinition of trophy wife.
Rebranding.
So, I'm sorry, you're correct. She did say the rebranding of trophy wife. So let's go around real quick. And what do we think a trophy wife is? So I don't want to get into a long explanation of it. So a simple explanation, I think, is just basically a hot wife. Like, it doesn't matter if she's educated or not. She could be. That's the plus. I'm not saying she has to be or she doesn't have to be. But all she is just a hot wife. No?
Okay, I'll agree because everything else that you add, like for example, if I have a group of friends who's in the anime, and then I find a girlfriend who is in the cosplay and she's just as in the anime as I am, it's a plus, but she's not technically a trophy to my friends unless she's hot. And because to me the trophy is some form of has nothing to do with the actual guy or the girl. Yeah, it's the trophy, like you're showing her off. And you can't show off, and I guess you could show off intelligence, but more likely you're showing off beauty. And so the trophy part comes because not your appreciation, but other people's appreciation of what you've acquired.
Agree.
And so to me, a trophy wife would be however society changes or whatever it goes with the times at that point in time. Right now, it's beauty.
I feel like
I mean,
it's
gonna
been
be
like
like
that.
it's been like
it
that
doesn't
as
even
well.
matter how society
But
it's always like that.
society's never changed past this. Is what I'm saying. As far as valuing beauty in the way we have, we're just now starting to try and uh appreciate big people and appreciate other physical
Body
shapes.
positivity.
Yeah, but there we go. Body positivity. So to me, it's
Spot your health.
so it might change soon. But I'm just saying the definition for me would be whatever the consensus or people say defines beauty.
One generation, it'll be
Yeah,
brunettes, another blondes.
exactly, exactly.
All right, Doc.
I think there's a disconnect between the actual like word itself, or like the actual like like the actual adjective and well, both the nouns like put together, and what they think it means. It's kind of like you know when like a culture is put down with a particular word, and then eventually that culture adopts that word and flips it and turns it into like a positive for themselves, so they can kind of stop the oppression of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I imagine like they're doing. Like they're like, well, we're taking trophy wife and we're owning it.
But trophy
And
wife was never really a derogatory term, was it? Like I
Not
never.
that I
It
thought.
depends on what your opinion is, and or your perspective, and especially if you're a woman. Like, if you're basically told to sit quiet and sit in the corner, and you have no ideas, just look hot, and you actually think that you have an idea, then it can be very insulting.
But I don't
Whereas
think I don't think
some
being
people
Oh,
will
I
actually
thought
want
finished
to
thought.
be that, though. Some people actually want to have like that responsibility taken away from them and given to their husband or whatever, and they just want to focus on their beauty.
I don't
And so, to some extent, like it depends on the person that you are, that if whether or not that's an insult. I just think that they're basically doing what's already being pushed as like female empowerment, but now they're just claiming this trophy wife term, and they're putting it under it as the umbrella. But it's very dissonant from what it actually is. Like it's just like, yeah, you kind of can own it, but the trophy in your perspective or their perspective is what they value, not necessarily, as John was saying, what everybody values, or at least what like all males value. Because I think honestly, trophy wife is just like that wholly is a male thing, where it's just like, I have this to display and I will display it amongst men, and then I will receive value as a man or validation for having claimed my prize. And to them, they're like, well, I'm going to prize myself, and then it doesn't matter, but it defeats the purpose of what it originally is.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying, regardless of whatever attribute you add to it, because of the way people work, the trophy part is coming from beauty. So, like, even if she has brains, it's not to take away from her brains or that she shouldn't be able to input into a conversation. It's just she's a trophy wife because of her beauty.
Like if you marry a man who married you for your beauty only because he wanted you as a trophy wife, then then it's not. I would say it's your fault for picking that man. If you wanted someone to respect your, let's say, because she said intelligence, respect your intelligence or what have you, but you married a man who only respected your beauty, is that the man's fault or the woman's fault? Because I feel like that's the problem here when it comes to this trophy wife rebranding, is they want the man who wants them as a trophy wife, but not because of their beauty, because of their brains. But the thing is, amongst men, the trophy wife is, I don't want to say universally, but generally speaking, about your looks. If a man refers to you as a trophy wife, it's usually because you're hot. I can show you off to my friends, and I can say, look at this dime piece I bagged, or some stupid thing like that. Like, that's what a trophy wife is.
I get where Doc's coming from, though. As far as like, there's a perceived negative connotation to it,
but it's from the women's side, not the men's side, though.
It's from both. It's from the type of women that men have labeled trophy wives. So, like I said, at its base form, it's
men have labeled women as trophy wives.
For example, at its base form, it's me and you agree it's beauty, right? So if you agree that it's beauty, then the intellect isn't needed. the rest of the package isn't needed
That's why the men
necessarily
usually
to
doesn't
attain
respect
the
them 'cause they
trophy.
don't yeah.
To attain the trophy status. You know what I'm saying? So when you see a whole bunch of men saying, "Oh, I have a trophy wife," but they're just talking about the beauty, because the average trophy wife or the stereotypical trophy wife wouldn't have intelligence based on what you're seeing, then the assumption is trophy wives don't have intelligence. But that's all those things are assumptions and not actually attributes of a trophy wife. When a trophy wife, when it boils down to it, it's just talking about your beauty. If you're desirable or not.
And I just want to make a quick go for it, Doc.
I think when the ball goes into like the guys' court, though, this is where like the term can be expanded, where you kind of as the guy have to define a value for, and then from there, and I think this is where like I meet them on like some kind of a ground or a compromise where it's just like if the guy can define what he's looking for, then that is his trophy. And that's what he's looking for.
Well, okay.
Well, me and Gene had the same conversation.
Well, real quick, what kind of men usually want a trophy wife? And when I say it usually want a trophy, I mean literally just a woman for her looks.
Douchebags.
Douchebags, but to stay within this typical narrative we have going on with the men right now, the high value man. What are they? Typically, that's who wants trophy women.
Mm-hmm.
High value man. And we had a debate about what a high value man, high value woman is. We'll get in that later maybe, but generally speaking, a man who wants a woman only for her beauty would be, I would say, not a high value man, but a wealthy man. Man who has money to throw away.
No, okay, I wouldn't say that.
Because then what does he want a woman for besides her looks then? Because that also correlates to the level of sexual services, no?
The want. You specifically said want. And that's most men would want a woman for her beauty. So it wouldn't just be rich or...
Because... The reason why I say this is because an average guy, is like what, like around the 50,000 to 60 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Do they really care about a trophy wife? I feel like those guys are like, I put myself in the category of an average guy, and me personally, I don't want a trophy wife. I have a list of what I personally want from a woman. Yes, I do want to be attracted to her. I do want her to be smart because I personally can't handle dumb people. I just can't. I want to be able to have a conversation with you. I want to be able to bounce ideas off you. I want to be able to hear you express your spiritual mind and your intellectual mind. Like I want to have like deep conversations. I want you to be able to actually be a little bit hardworking. I don't want you to be a bum inside the house all the time.
But you just directly related your income to your level of intelligence and understanding. The reason I said you could. You said average.
I didn't relate intelligence.
No, I'm not saying bad. I'm saying in a good way. So you said you're an average guy, based off what?
Potentially earning potential.
Boom. Then you correlated it to way of thinking. You want this. You want this.
No, I went on a side topic.
But that's what I'm saying.
I kind of branched off.
You don't think like the average male. That's what I'm saying. You don't think like the average male. So regardless of your income,
I see what you're trying.
You get. That's what I was saying. I wasn't saying you did it like, oh yeah, but you got So you don't think like the average male. Just because of your income, you don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? You think
because that's the conversation we have. There's nuances to the average male and in the high value male. It's not. It's like we've discussed. It's not specifically money. Mm-hmm. Although because men are viewed as
providers.
Exactly. That is a big factor, big variable in your potential high valuedness, low valuedness.
Correct.
But I think that's also where we're starting to break from tradition because, I mean, with the advent of like the modern woman, I feel like the modern man is also coming just as fast.
I said it. Oh, you see it coming. It's hilarious.
Even though it's like it probably is being suppressed in certain ways, I think like I feel like the troops are rallying like around the side. You know what I mean? Because I think now that men see that they don't need to play the rat race for money for the world to open up to them. They're going to open up the world in their own ways. And it's a totally different like thing that's going to happen to them. And now women are like, well, we want to be able to accumulate wealth. And I bet a bunch of guys are like, go for it. Like, I really don't want to do this, but I've been told I've had to my entire life. If you want to do it, do it. Like, okay, like you can take the responsibility. You can be in the courtrooms or in the corporate like offices arguing with people and stuff like that. I don't want to deal with this shit. I want to do what I want to do, what I originally wanted to, but society told me I needed to do this, and so it's opening up for them as well. And so I think, though, that defeats the very traditional idea of a high-value man, which is that he's rich. and attractive and like 6 feet tall and like has a body from being an Olympic athlete, you know? And I don't think guys like now need to do that or should do that if they really, really, really want to mix things up. But then that goes into the whole like gender clash that's happening right now, where we're still being upheld to those traditional modes, and we're not able to break free when they can.
Because we say all this, right? And I agree. And what I told Gene was the actual remedy is, I don't want to blame media or anything like that, but the actual remedy would be putting
I'll blame
the
media.
average,
I have
putting
no
the
problem blaming
putting the
media.
average female on the pedestal. Not the average female, but you get what I'm saying. More lines of more realistic female on the pedestal, putting the more realistic male on the pedestal, and promoting those
like-
way, because all we see is the close to perfect ideals or the setup stuff, the stage stuff. Everything is, recorded for a purpose with intent to show that type of thing, and we're allowing those people to have the conversations, which are the people who want to be trophy wives, the stereotypical form, and the ones who want
The
to
one
be
who
high
wants
value
to
males.
control how they're seen instead of accepting how they're seen.
Exactly. And so, I mean, we're just not being realistic with the conversation as far as like high value and low value between a man and a woman. And like I told Gene, the one thing I think as men is we haven't put a actual definition or put together what defines an actual high value female. We always still based on the kind of shallowness of the looks and the how she makes you look when you're out type thing. And so there's just so many nuances to it that I just don't think that.
Because we can already list off some things that people have talked about what makes a high value man, but you got to like think and argue about the high value woman part. There's not something you can list off like that, 3 things off the bat about a high value woman, but you can about a man. And usually it's a level of income, it's a level of status, and it's a level of wealth. Or I'm sorry, income, which is wealth, status, and then fitness.
And then the reason I agree too is because a guy can have all of these same good qualities, right? Then you add status, fitness, and wealth. Who's the obvious higher value person? If you have the same attributes and everything else, except one is rich, one's more fit, and one is a little bit more famous. He's obviously, you know what I'm saying? So those things will always be at the core of it, but it's just nuanced. Like, I always see it like building a character on a video game. When you're adding stats, you only have a limited amount of points to build into, you know what I'm saying, that character. That it's nuanced. So there may be a girl that values wealth 40% versus intelligence 60%. And so he makes just enough to where she's not worried about it. And then that 60% is just, that's what, you know what I'm saying? So I always feel like as far as the conversation of high value, it's the weird people having it. It's really weird people with bad intentions having it.
Well, I think right now too the thing that everybody's hoping happens is that you go off, you live your individual life, you specialize in whatever it is you think makes you happiest, and then by chance you meet somebody who specialized in something that you value that you don't have, that you want in a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then you live happily ever after. And then there's people that are kind of crossing the line with like, well, you need somebody to take care of this stuff for you. And you need somebody at least in the group to be financially responsible. You need this, and then there's like reality that kind of checks and balances some of that dream. And I think that's where like a lot of people are just trying to feel their way through to find the compromise. To also segue to like what the kicker is for this situation for the trophy wife training and stuff like that is that you have Lana Rhoades, who's a porn star, who's trying to be or wants to be a trophy wife herself, but I don't know if she can do it in the most traditional sense, or especially the original way, which was just pure beauty, like just visual captivation.
Well, that's why. So
in
our original conversation, Doc and I had,
or a real Christian man.
Doc, I don't want to misquote you, so correct me from here. He didn't say that she can't be a trophy wife, but he was kind of not sure if she could. And I rebuke saying, No, she can be because it's all about the looks, but I would argue she's a low tier, low value trophy wife. So she would be the trophy wife you'd have somewhere in the closet. Like, I don't really want to show off, but when I do, I mean, I'm trying not to go too deep into it. I'm trying to keep it, just, hey, this is her. Go away.
Nah,
That might sound fucked up, but
nah, that's a fuck you trophy wife. Like, you gotta accept. That's
a fuck you trophy wife?
yeah. Like, when I pull up, y'all know who this is. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, she with me, yes. It's me, yeah. The same Lana with me. Fuck you. Married it. That's what that is. You don't marry somebody and then hide them.
Fair. That goes against the whole notion of a trophy wife.
You have to get married. The part about the marriage. Like,
It's funny. It's just the biggest factor about why we have this opinion about Lana Rhoades and being a trophy wife is the porn star stigma that's around her. Because if she's your wife, me personally at least, I'll speak for myself. I already know I wouldn't marry her because I already know if I try to proclaim her as a trophy wife, back in the back of my mind, at least for me, if I'm a friend, I'd be like, but she was a porn star, bro.
there are dudes in circles where there would be like, dude, you fucking married Lana Rhoades.
Yeah, like I can go
Fuck
on. I
yeah,
can go on.
dude.
What's it called? Really? You think fuck yeah?
Dude, there are people.
You think
we
so?
have every type, Gene. This is America. We have every type. Every type. Think of it.
I mean, we have
There's
every
somebody
type,
doing
but
it.
then how prevalent is that?
A lot.
I disagree.
How many millions
I
of
guess
views?
it depends on
I
how
disagree
pure you
completely.
want it to be. Then,
Come on,
because I
son.
feel
Yeah,
like her being a
she was
porn star
just dating
compromises
somebody
the
for years.
validation, though.
I completely agree. Yeah,
There are a lot of men who would be comfortable with it and not care.
I don't think that's a lot of men at all. I think that's a minority of men.
All right,
Majority
Gene.
of men, no.
All
Minority
right,
men,
Gene.
sure.
All right, Gene. She's the most popular porn star on earth for a reason. Okay.
Then those are very naive men who don't
Ain't nobody arguing that.
Then my issue then would be, and this is a different discussion, but I'll mention real quick, would just be the value of marriage then. Because at that point, what are you marrying her for? Just because she's a porn star? If you have that mindset,
Fell in
I
love
would
with a porn
argue.
star.
If you have that mindset, I would argue it's because you want her for the sexual access that she potentially provides you.
Gene, you
Or
don't
experience.
decide to
Depends
you
on,
don't
like, how
you don't
well you get to
decide
know
to
her.
marry the person on spot. You get to know the person and fall in love, and then it's, oh my
If
God,
you
I
fall
fell in love
with
with
a porn star, it's because of the stuff you've watched
no,
her do.
It's because you met. That's why you met her. That's why you engaged the person. But that might not be the reason you fall in love with a person. There might be other attributes that you fall in love for.
Sure.
Well, it kind
That's
of
what I'm saying. Like,
for like
if
the
you get to know the
mentality
person,
of-
it's possible.
I guess
it depends
go
on the
Doc.
mentality of the guy seeking the trophy wife. I also think because it's like if you really want the validation, you'll do something stupid like marry somebody you don't love. And
Facts.
so I could see like it happens all the time. Like it's a stereotype, right? Like some people marry a really hot girl that they don't love because she's a trophy wife, and they just display her, and then they fucking hate it when they have to go home with her because they have to actually deal with her. And maybe that would happen to this person who was just like, fuck yeah, I married Lana Rhoades, bro. Like, hell yeah. I do think, though, in the classic sense of being a trophy wife, like, it's not what was the analogy I used with Eugene? It's not a unicorn. Like, it's not, like, the one type that, like, nobody else got to except for you.
Yeah.
She's more like a sex demon, like
Succubus.
yeah, like you're just like, dude, she's so good. Like she's so good at sex. I get that every night, and you get to like throw that in front of your friends and stuff like that.
But then the
I
problem
feel like that's the only thing that you would kind of go for if you were going for like full objectivity.
Also, she's
for,
a
like her as a
multi-millionaire.
trophy wife.
But then my rebuttal to that, going back to the conversation we had, would be then the issue is if she's not like she was in her porn videos, then like you feel like you got juked. Like you're not like the joke I made was like you're not slobbing on my knob how I watched you on the videos. Like what is this? This is not what was advertised.
I think that that would be the.
Because you made the comment too, and I agree with you. And porn stars have said this: is how they love on camera is different than how they love in private. Their intimacy is different. And
Yeah, there's actually another video too where she cries about like what she did on camera, and she's not like happy about it. Like she wishes she hadn't done some of it. And there was like one comment I read. It was like fast money brings slow problems, and I was like, damn, like that's kind of real. But that would be the issue, right? That's like the moral implications of dating a porn star, where you have to be like, are you who you are on camera? Because if what I want is what's on camera, then I win. But if you're a different person, then you just hope like the guy
Wouldn't you
values
know
the
that
person
before?
as opposed to the actress.
Wouldn't you
and
know that before
goes
getting
with
married?
that.
They gonna think I got corona
You'd
this
hope.
whole. So
You'd hope. I don't know. That's why I understand what you're trying to say, but I feel like that's an extremely optimistic view on how the situation would play out.
no. I'm not saying that. That's. I'm saying it's possible to fall in love with a porn star.
Of course,
It's possible to fall in love with anybody that you don't have
man.
that you have sexual intentions for in the beginning. Is what I'm saying. And
How
so,
like? All right,
so
I don't
if
want to be
you-
an asshole here, but how likely is that to happen? Like,
So, for
I'll be the
example,
asshole
if
to say
Lana's
it.
like, for example, if Lana's like, okay, cool, we date, right? But I'm not fucking for the first 30 days. Some guys will stay, some guys will go.
I would be blown if she says that. Not
Right.
be an asshole, but it's like, really?
I mean, go ahead, pop your shit. But some guys will stay, right? And be like, oh, it might be worth it. You feel me? Right? So they would get to know her during that 30-day period or whatever it is. And I'm not saying she does this. I'm just saying time when people are still people regardless of the dumb shit they say. Like, there are small little things when you're like with people that you don't understand that you might value. Like, it may be, oh, she actually cares. She remembers my favorite foods. It might be small shit that you just gain from interacting with each other more. And then it's like, oh shit, it's not about, like, I came here for porn star sex, but damn, either you slipped up or you got too close and you end up developing feelings for a person. That's just how life works. Everybody, it may not be porn, but everybody has some type of past or something. And I'm not saying, obviously, like, if you scale it, obviously this would be looked at publicly as more, you know what I'm saying, bad, I guess. But it's just how we are. And so it's like,
I get what you're trying to say. My issue is if a man approaches Lana Rhoades with the intentions of, let's say, dating her.
no, to fuck. If he approaches her to fuck.
I'm trying to do the marriage thing. My problem is any man who actually goes through this whole situation you're putting forth more than likely will not be the type of man she wants.
I could agree
That's
with that.
that's what I'm
I
trying to
could
say.
agree
This is
to
a very
that.
optimistic viewpoint you're having.
No,
It's
no,
the
no, no,
best
no.
case situation.
No. I'm not saying that it's going to be a man she wants. I'm just saying there's a possible that I didn't say they can stay together. I didn't say all that.
But
I said
that
it's possible to
possibility
develop
is unlikely.
feelings for
That's why I
somebody. You're talking about
Sure.
marriage and you're talking about, so when you're talking about marriage, you're automatically implying staying together forever and being happy. I'm talking about getting married.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. Yes, I'm trying to. No, my opinion is trying to be the realistic outcome of what's going to happen if Lana Rhoades.
So what you're saying is you think like 80% of men who approach her do it because they want to fuck her or fuck the porn star, essentially. Like, maybe not even like, because that might not actually be her real personality when she's into.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying
I would agree with
80% of
that.
guys approach Lana Rhoades are not approaching because they want to get to know her. They approach her because the porn star. They want to experience Lana Rhoades.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
okay, that actually might be true, and that's probably something she has to deal with.
100%.
And then my thing is, then the smaller percentage of guys who, the 20%, I guess the numbers we said, who actually want to get to know her, she probably won't be interested in.
But also, this
Well,
is
why
what
do you
this
think that though?
that's the part that we're
I guess
because I
this-
agree.
okay.
I agree with that. She won't want them. I'm just saying, whoever she's going to be forced to deal with, it's possible they're going to approach her for the sex, like you said. But I'm saying, chances are, multimillionaire porn star Lana Rhoades is a high value female for a lot of $50,000 guys. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that's my point. So when you look at the numbers that way, it's a lot of guys who would fuck with Lana Rhoades.
So let me answer Doc's question. So Doc, you asked me, why do I think that the lower tier guys 20% would, or why do I think wouldn't?
Yeah, why do you think she wouldn't want to date those guys?
Because, how do I word this? I mean, I'm probably going to sound fucked up anyway,
Your
but
defense is right here, though. If you just, she just said it. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, she did actually say she's saying she's
She
looking for a
literally
high
just
value
said it,
man.
yeah.
But what
Yeah.
if that 20% is the interpretation of high value? So
What-
why do you think she
high-
wouldn't go for that though?
So it
I
goes to
can't
the
go that
conversation we had. It's a level of exclusivity. It's like you said, the metaphor is unicorn, where she's, if not only you, at least her body count is to the point where it's negligible. If I'm even saying that right. It's a non-factor. With Lana Rhoades, even if her body count's not that high, it's public. I can literally go see who you have been with and how you have been with them. I'll speak for myself, and I don't know if every guy feels this way. I personally think some majority of them do, that would be a problem for me. That would be a wall that I don't think I could ever get over.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And the
I
small
would see that
percentage-
being a
And the small
problem for a
percentage
lot
of
people.
exactly, and the small percentage of guys that could look past that and take her seriously, this might be fucked up. I don't think they're in that high value category. Because I think it's a level of self respect maybe. And I'm not trying to bash Lana Rhoades. Like, live your life, do what you want to do. If you get a man you can get, like, good luck to you and all that stuff. It's just me personally. And I don't know if all guys agree with. Like, you guys tell me, could you date Lana Rhoades seriously with the intentions of marrying her?
Be really
I
honest with you.
feel like I would have to get
Yes.
to know her, and it would be. You are right. Like it's something
Make me
like
sound racist on this
if I
goddamn
was in this
podcast.
situation, I'd have to consider and I have to weigh.
You
Be,
know,
no,
make
be
me sound
honest. Like,
racist
yes
on
or
this
no.
podcast.
Like, could you?
Bro,
Well, I'm just
you
saying
see-
it's not really like a yes or no answer because you have to like spend time with the person and feel them out. You know what I mean? Like if I don't like her personality and I'm also like, damn, why am I trying with a girl that I don't want to be with? That's also publicly like, just a porn star. It's like what? That's all a bad deal. But if there's something in there that I'm like, I don't know, man, I kind of don't mind you watching her fuck on a video while she comes and picks me up in her Lambo. Like, it's kind of cool, man. I get to hang out on it and use it, whatever. And like, but the hard part would be like, I guess to an extent, you are right in the sense that it's hard, it's more unlikely like for her to find something of value in 20%, but it depends on what she values and what she's looking for. Like,
I'm pretty sure she values a level like the three
Well,
you mentioned: status,
well,
wealth.
because this, but here's the thing
fitness.
though, like you're going like, let me bring in like ancient fucking chivalric romances and stuff like that.
Let's go.
Why would the queen go run off with Lancelot? You know what I mean? Like she had Arthur. Like he was the fucking high valuest man. Like the guy's a legend, literally, and probably
made
like
that shit up.
a deified
They made that shit up. That bitch.
human. You know what I mean? Like, so why would she run off with Lancelot? It's because Lancelot was romantic in some sense, and so there's a chance that like even though like she
Lancelot was still status, still fit, and a level of wealth.
not necessarily, dude.
Still
No,
comfortable.
he was just a round table knight. Like
But that-
yeah, he was supported by the castle and stuff
That
like
was
that,
just
but he
arguing
wasn't like.
semantics.
Hold on. I got a question for y'all. Okay, cool. I have a couple of friends who are no, not even friends. I won't say friends. I won't say anybody. I know people. I don't know anybody actually. There are people.
Real quick, before you tell the story, answer the question: would you date Lana Rhoades seriously? With
Well,
the
I'm
intentions
trying
of
to tell you
marriage?
my point, dude.
Okay,
like,
sorry,
what
go
if,
for it,
like,
go for it.
What
Sorry.
what if I can sing amazingly well and she loves to hear it, to the point to where she is willing to shower me with whatever her form of affection is, and it makes me fucking think like at some point she just hits that sweet spot where like damn like that's my love language, like she's actually doing something that I want to keep around me, and I'm already doing something that she wants to keep around her. Then is you telling me, hey, I'm watching your bitch fuck, going to destroy that connection? And depending on how strong that connection is, I'm gonna fucking look at you and laugh and say I don't care, dude. Like, and that's kind of the my point. Like, it's not so easy to say yes or no.
I
I mean,
wouldn't.
it's also easy for you to say right here that you don't know either, would not being in that
I
situation.
wouldn't. I know niggas who would. And so let me ask y'all this question. Like I said, there are people who sell drugs for a living, right? Okay. And when those people meet financial impasses, they normally calculate that impasse by whatever the amount of drug is. Like, for example, if I sell weed and eighths are $50 or something like that, and something costs me $50, I'm like, damn, that's an eighth. Mentally, we naturally do it, right? Based on wherever you work, you naturally do it. Now, with porn stars, if you don't meet the value that she needs monetarily and she has to go get it, what do you think her mentality is? What do you think it goes through Lana Rhoades' mind if she needs $60K
I
for
gotta
something?
go.
Damn, I could have sucked.
That's exactly what I was going. I gotta suck 10 dicks to get $10,000 or something. Probably more than that, but still, like I agree with you.
And that is why I just personally couldn't date.
I'm right there with you.
I mean,
couldn't.
honestly, dude, I feel like that rolls back around to the whole soldier thing. Or if you need money, and you got to go to war, you got to go. You know what that means.
I've heard this
Like,
comparison also. I've heard a comparison of a woman who sells her body for porn in this particular subject and the man who sells his body for war and
I agree
kills.
with that, actually.
I don't think that's comparable.
I do. I think the mentality that they go in there with has to be the same. It's very similar. Like, the fear when you sign up for any military thing is death. It's the same thing. Like, if you're talking about, like, real sex work, like, it's the same thing. Like, they can get diseases, they can get raped, they can have stalkers, like, the level of wanting to survive
the fear is
you would
comparable, like you're
need
saying,
is the
yeah.
same. The
Maybe the
fear
fear,
is what I'm talking
sure,
about.
but-
Not the task itself. It's the fear going into it.
Sure.
What makes you sign up for it.
I can agree to that. Sure, I can agree to that. At
That's
least.
where I think it's the same.
But I just still don't think the comparison of a girl doing porn and a guy going to the military and becoming I think the place where she referred to him as a killer is I don't think that's fair.
No, yeah, they're
So,
not
so like you
not all
already
of
know
other
that
shit.
like this person's like gonna do some pretty high level stuff because she's at the very top of the industry, right?
Correct.
So let's say you're married to a special ops agent or you're married to a Green Beret. You know what they're gonna do when they leave. You know what they do. You just don't talk about it. Like
And
when they come back, you're just like, we don't talk about it. Like you did what you needed to do. You went to some place that I've never heard of, and that's it. Like I doubt
Basically what you guys
you
talking
went
about.
there to scout. Like no, you went to do some damage, and then you came back. Like
But my issue though is, even though what the Green Beret, the Rangers, whatever, Navy SEALs, whatever, even though what they do is fucked up, it still does to a degree facilitate their attractiveness. They're with their finger, they're trained with some crazy stuff. They're able to kill. They can provide women protection, security.
That's personal preference. What you're speaking.
But
of.
I'm trying to say, I'm trying
but
to relate it
yeah,
back to what
that's-
makes a man attractive.
But
It's
hold
a
on.
level of wealth.
Let me just interject something. I don't
you
even.
even said
I don't have an opinion
Go
really.
for it.
But you guys are actually speaking to how society views or scales sin. So like now you guys are talking about killing and
Okay, that's interesting.
and sex work, and so society actually views killing a lot less than it does sex work because
They're both sins, and
they're
I get
both
what you're
sins,
saying.
but murder can be more forgivable
if it's
for
for
some
a just
reason
cause or something like that, for the country, yeah.
exactly. So that's scaled somewhere in that conversation. So it's just like
So then, okay, that brings the question: is can you do sex work for a just cause?
I mean, surviving is that
Yeah,
considered a just
yeah,
cause?
that's the fucking heavy stuff, man. Because
But-
it's
How
just like,
often
can
is
you
that
kill for a
happening?
just cause?
I
Can
mean,
you do sex work
We're
for
talking
a just
about
cause?
around the
Like,
world, or are we just talking about in America?
That
I'm
yeah, man,
right
that's-
now.
that's
I'm
the
right now.
big question.
specifically
I know, you're talking about
But if we're
America.
talking about the world, sure, yeah. People
Yeah.
out there, like, yeah, I get it. But within America and the confines of this, where this topic originated from, the origins, I mean, I can't say that the men in the military are killing justly because I really don't know. I really can't say like they're like blah blah blah. On the surface facade of it, yeah, sure, it's just because they're doing it for our rights. They're fighting for our country and all the privileges that we have. And for women, like, I would say no because technically they're doing it for the money. They want to be able to be independent bad bitches, as they said, feminists.
Wait, are you talking about women doing porn or women doing military?
Porn.
Oh, okay.
It's not about survival. You could argue it's survival because you need money to survive, but look at the way some of these women live in. You're more than surviving.
100%. I mean, you start.
And then
you
look at some
start
of our
doing
military men
something-
when they got out of the military.
Okay,
Some of them,
But
they're
hold
not-
on, hold on. To your example,
Go for it.
they start doing it to survive, correct? And then once they see that it's working and see some level of success, like you said, society doesn't look at this as something that's so forgivable. So at what point in the sex work can they re-enter society and be accepted? So that their point, I'm already a killer. I'm already this. And to your point, military men, a lot of military people work security or they work in law enforcement after.
Mm-hmm.
So they still continue to use those skills.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of go right now. Not as in task, but as in those people, once you killed, it's like they still want to do work. Most of them still do work around that.
Developed a certain set of skills.
Exactly. And they've seen success, or they've acquired some certain level of specialty, or, you know what I'm saying, in it. And then it's just like, okay, what else do I know? What else do I do? And
I do think there is a bit of a weird contrast in that, because to an extent, like, a lot of people join the military for survival. Like, there's just nothing where they're at. There's no money. They don't have a job. Like, they can't find work in time. They just fucking, like, shit, I've got rent. I've got all these fees. And, like, it's all piling up. I need to escape. You can always go to the military. That's why in your apartment, like, all legal clauses for apartment complexes, when you sign it, you can always break that fucking contract if you go into the military. Anything you have, they'd freeze it the moment you go into the military. So it is an escape route for a lot of people. And I guess to a lot of other people, or a lot of women in particular, the porn industry is as well. The difference is that the porn industry isn't promoted as a service, which is
Exactly.
I think
because the military
I don't know how they
like
would,
a noble
honestly.
thing.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the hard issue with it. Like,
it's a good point. It really is. You actually changed my mind a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have like an argument for how you would promote porn as a service, but I mean, maybe it calms people down. Like we saw during the quarantine, that people started, watching a lot more porn and stuff like that because they need to stay in. But
like, the only way I could potentially try to nobilize it, I don't even know if that's the right word to say, but at least make it into a service that makes it more acceptable. And it still goes back to a level of military. Like, for example, if a woman utilizes her body to trap a drug cartel leader or something like that. Like, for example, that joke we had, or that one podcast talked about with that one Congress guy who got busted for trying to solicit sex.
How many of them?
Yeah, and he wrote the fucking law.
And he wrote
Which one?
Exactly. Like, if a woman does that, like, she goes all the way, sells herself all the way to the point before she does it just to catch somebody, okay, then sure. But but it's a hard comparison, because a man who does still follow through with the killing and almost still follow through the sex, like, I don't know, you're right. It's hard to try to.
Hey man, that's the yellow rose of Texas, bro. I don't know if you know that story, but the reason there's a yellow rose on, like, a lot of Texas symbolism is because we got a really, really hot, I guess Latina, and we sent her to Santa Ana, and Santa Ana gave away the battle plans to her when he got drunk with her and fucked her, and she came back, told Sam Houston the plans, and we countered, and we took him out.
That's a good example. Yeah, that's a good example.
Is she a high value woman?
So what you're saying is she could be a spy. Lana Rhoades could enlist in the military as a spy, and then I don't know, just win us a war.
Would that redeem her then?
I'll tell you what.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. A lot of intelligence is gathered around that name, though.
I believe you, honestly. I don't doubt that. All right, we kind of went a little too long down this topic, but I feel like it was actually kind of a productive conversation. Honestly, changed my mind a little bit when it came to the comparison between porn stars and military men.
It's kind of a hard contrast, but it does, in a weird way, make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.